Hey, true crime fanatics, this is Claire.
And I'm Andy.
You're tuned in to the Homicide Hobbies podcast, which is a podcast for people who love to hear about the horrendous crimes that people commit. Enjoy. Spoiler alert, Andrew's going to discuss a penis today.
I am going to talk about penises today. Thank you, Claire. It is, after all, you and your husband that dubbed me the queen of the penises. And since you tried to take my title last week with the Nutcracker, if anybody...
We didn't dub you it. We just pointed out the obvious. But anywho.
Obvious, dubbed it. I'm not all about the penises, contrary to popular belief in your household.
What's this episode about?
Well, since you challenged me with the Nutcracker episode, I decided to try to take my title back, and I bring you this case.
About penises.
Just one.
Technically not. She's going to try to talk slower. She gets all excited.
Screw you, Claire. So today we're going to talk about phalloplasty. It's a multi-stage procedure that may include multiple procedures, including the lengthening of the urethra, so the menfolk can stand when they pee, creation of the tip or head of the penis, creation of the scrotum, removal of the vagina, and placement of erectile and testicular implants.
So today's not necessarily about an actual murder, but there is a death.
So there is a death of a man's penis.
Shit's about to get weird.
It's a sad story. You may cry a little. You may not. Just make sure you grab the clean Kleenex when you go to cry.
Ew, Andrea.
All right. So that's your one and only F-bomb, just so you know. I'm just kidding. Okay, so today we're going to discuss Malcom MacDonald. He's a 47-year-old divorced father of two. He lives in Norfolk, England, and works as a mechanic. So in 2014, Malcom developed an infection in his perineum, which is the skin between the ball sack and your tushy. Malcom admits that he was at a low point in his life because his relationship had just deteriorated, and it was right after the birth of, I would assume, his second child. He was homeless and kind of began couch surfing with friends, and he admits that he started doing a lot of drugs. This was in 2010, by the way.
Which I think totally means that's how the infection started. He was injecting shit in between space. Which is really, by the way, disgusting. I've heard of people doing between their toes because it's a way to hide injection marks. But who lifts their balls and is just like, yep, there's a good spot.
Yeah. So he doesn't admit to how he got the infection, but he does say that he noticed a tennis ball size infection on his perineum.
Oh, you noticed that, did you?
Yeah. So
he thought he was just lucky and was growing a third testicle.
He thought he was blessed.
He named it and everything.
Well, you would think he did not name it that we are aware of.
You don't know.
I just said that we're aware of. So I would feel like that would be painful. Like when he sits down and stuff. Wouldn't you think that hurts? I think
everything would be painful. Taking a shit, walking, sitting down. I mean, like what happened when it was like a peach pit size or a grape? I mean, again, infection. So, and it probably didn't have the best smell either. So I don't know. Sounds like a fucking idiot.
Well,
notice that the ones that's the size of a tennis ball.
As it swelled, Malcom decided to go.
No. You know what? The more I mull this one over, I'm going to call bullshit. He noticed it when it's the size of a tennis ball. We all know the amount of fondling that goes on in that area. He noticed it well before it was a tennis ball. I call Salty Nuts bullshit on this one.
I'm not arguing it because I find it extremely hard to believe. As it swelled, Malcom decided to go Dr. Pimple Popper, DIYer, and popped his perineum abscess on his own.
Sprayed out like ramen noodle. Andrea, really? Did you just...
Yeah, I did.
That's disgusting. You and your sound effects. What the fuck? Like, I'm already visualizing this shit. I did not need that. Not at all.
It got the reaction I wanted. You laughed.
At least there's not a thing of smell-o-vision yet.
Ew.
Hey, you wanted to dabble down the sound effects.
I think it depends on what he popped it with and how big of a hole he made.
Ooh, or how necrotic the tissue was.
Okay.
I can smell it from here.
Shortly after, he became sepsis, which is when you have a life-threatening infection in your blood. Based off of the fact that he has yet to go to the doctor for this very large pustule in a very sensitive area. Once he became sepsis, he did like he's currently been doing and decided to not go to the doctor.
He used Neosporin.
He didn't, I don't think he even did that. So eventually Malcom said his toes and his fingers started to turn black. And then, oh, wait, his penis began turning black.
Oh. Okay. I feel like at what point do you seek medical assistance? The smell. Ew, and you know what? Probably at this point, it wasn't closing because how bad the infection was. So it was probably just oozing. He was the smelly guy with black fingers and toes.
Malcom goes to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden his penis falls off.
I don't feel like that was the noise.
It just popped off, and then his penis fell off into the toilet. That's it for my sound effects.
Oh my god.
You like that though, right? Please tell me. It made you laugh. It really did. Again, nobody dies in this episode, just his penis. Therefore, I feel like the sound effects bring a slight amount of humor.
It's a great tragedy.
It really is.
Does it count as a drowning? Although I guess he already died. Fell into the water. Although totally don't feel like it was a suctioning noise when it fell off.
It was more of a pop. Bob. I don't know. It made me laugh. I don't know what the sound of a penis popping off really sounds like. So I went with my fun imagination side.
I am glad you don't know what that sounds like. I hope to never know what a penis being removed from a body sounds like.
Well, yeah. Way to make it weird, Claire.
Right. I made it weird.
All right.
I feel like he lost feeling well before it just lopped off.
So I couldn't find where, granted, we're fast forwarding here. There is a documentary on him, but I couldn't find it. It was released on Channel 4 in the UK. So I don't know what that translates to in the US, but I did Google the title of it and see if there was any streaming rights to it, and there was not. So we'll get back on that. But Malcom is quoted as saying, "Because I had been going through the devastation of knowing I was going to lose it, I just picked it up and put it in the bin."
Well,
so his dick falls off, and he picks it up and just plops it in the toilet or in the trash can. First of all, I'm not fishing it out of the toilet. That's gross.
He did that because he was like, fuck it. I used the last of the Gorilla Glue earlier this morning. It won't keep.
I mean, let's just say he was blessed and well endowed. He could have still flushed it. If you're going to just toss it, why would you fish it out of the toilet?
Okay, let's rewind here. So if he wasn't going to go to the doctor for a tennis ball shaped inflammation under his balls, he's definitely not calling the plumber when he lodges his penis into the pipe. Andrew, there's like those pee joints or the pee traps. It's not going to bend around there. How do you plunge that?
It's pliable. Like, it's flexible. It's a penis. It's not
So
like
are turds in those plug a pipe.
It's not like he was erect when his penis fell off.
It's still something that's not
It's
gonna
a shriveled up, dead, squishy something.
But it's still that total. Here's a thought: if you are in the room when a penis falls off, don't flush it, Andrea. You're gonna have way worse issues in the plumbing route. Bury it or something. Like say goodbye.
Have a funeral?
It's not a goldfish. He had good times. He had bad times. This is clearly the bad, but make you a little cross or whatever placard and take it out back.
Well, Malcolm decided to just toss it in the garbage.
Maybe they didn't have so many good times.
He claimed that he wasn't too concerned about it at first because he already had 2 kids.
Makes total sense. So the drug use continued up till this point, eh?
Correct. And I know that you're curious, Claire. Malcolm's testicles remained intact. So he was left with a stump and testicles. So paint a nice picture of a bloody, stumpy, blackened, would have been penis and some saggy, smelly testicles. I'm surprised his testicles didn't get infected.
Yeah.
Like, why just the penis?
I feel like there was probably some injecting of some things there as well.
Yeah.
Like, since he doesn't want to admit, if he's going to potentially inject anything into his peritoneum, then I'm going to say he was probably shoving it right into his penis because maybe he wasn't that flexible. So he got tired of like squishing over on the couch. So he was like, you know what? I can see a bulging vein in my penis. I'm going to just go right here. Way more convenient than my arm. And did that. Then it fell off.
Well,
I think this is a PSA for drug usage. It's not good. Your penis could fall off.
Don't do drugs, guys. Penis could fall off. Hey,
maybe tell your boys that. That'd definitely keep them.
I feel like, I mean, you know, your nephews. I don't think they would become.
Andrew, they're men, or they will be.
If I have every intention of trying to scare them to not do drugs, so I will definitely go that route. I might wait until they're a little bit older.
I'm not saying go take the 5-year-old and tell him that, you know, if he chooses drugs, his penis will fall off, because I feel like he's not there yet. So
yeah, we're still working on mastering brushing his back teeth. So he's gonna be like, "What's drugs?"
He's not taking that Tylenol anymore.
So anyway, doctors informed Malcolm that what was left of his stump, all they could do is, quote, roll it up like a sausage roll. So like take the flaps and just kind of fold it over so that he could still urinate.
I'd like to know what doctor he went to that said, we're going to roll it up like a sausage roll.
Yeah. And for those that don't know what a sausage roll is, it's the equivalent to, in the US, a pig in a blanket. So,
you know, and that was even cruel to even use as an analogy. He doesn't have a pig to put it in a blanket. They just folded a blanket.
So you know how when you go, you know how when I pictured the pig being the urethra tube.
Fine, Andrew, take that joke away.
I did. But you know how sometimes you go to the doctor and you've got certain doctors that are very sympathetic to whatever your situation is. And then you have other doctors that are like, this fucking idiot. And they seem to be very crass and like abrupt with their.
Andrew, his penis fell off.
Exactly.
I feel like everyone deserves to be crass with him. He had plenty of opportunity to seek medical assistance well before his fingers and toes turned black, which, by the way, what happened to those?
I'm going to guess at that point, they probably started him on some type of medication to turn around that situation because he did not lose any digits.
I feel like he did lose a digit, Andrea.
I feel like the menfolk out there, he lost part of his soul.
Anyway, so I feel like because his penis just lopped off altogether, I feel like it overshadowed any potential fingertip loss.
So I also feel like that's why the doctors were like, hey, you're going to have a little tiny pig in a blanket. Sorry about your bad luck, you idiot. You should have come in sooner.
He just had a blanket, Andrea.
Well, they covered his urethra it was a fitted to make sure it was warm.
You struggle to line up the ends. That's why I went with a... Anywho.
So, like any other man in Malcolm's situation would be, he stopped doing drugs.
And cried heavily.
To quit doing drugs. But became severely depressed and began drinking heavily.
That's because he made the conscious choice to not hold a funeral because he was upset.
Yes,
he didn't have any closure. He never got to say goodbye.
So Malcolm said that he felt like a shadow of a man and believed that
there wasn't even a shadow.
It wasn't. He believed that he'd be left with a stumpy penis for the rest of his life.
He even was nicknamed Pothole.
Until Malcolm's general practitioner told him about the penis master.
Of course you would sing before that.
The penis master's name was Professor David Ralph. Professor Ralph is an expert in penis construction at London's University College Hospital.
Somebody who loves penises more than you.
Apparently so. So Professor Ralph created a penis using skin from Malcolm's arm, and the purpose was to attempt to help him be able to feel. So they cut some of the skin off his left forearm and took a vein out of his right thigh to create like the urethra.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, Malcolm's new member was meant to be attached to his nether regions, but because of all his infections and lack of blood flow or oxygen and blood flow and all that to his extremities, they had to attach it to his left arm where they took the skin from to create said penis.
Was it his left arm or his right?
It was his left forearm.
Because that would be an awkward handshake.
I feel like if he's left-handed and shaking with his left hand, then yes.
Who shakes with their left hand?
I don't know. A lefty?
I
feel like whoever puts a hand, I don't know. I feel like you can be ambidextrous with
I've
your
never
handshaking.
shaken anyone's left hand.
So to our lefties out there, if you're the first to reach out for a handshake, do you put out your right hand or your left? I feel like it goes either way. You just put out the corresponding hand to whoever you're shaking hands with. But because the majority of people are right-handed, that's why it gets written off as a right-handed
I think the only time you shake with a left hand is if the other person doesn't even have a right hand. I think etiquette would imply it's your right hand if one exists. Otherwise, everybody be like extending the wrong hand and there'd be like that awkward little patty cake.
I'm going to go up to somebody the next time I'm out in public that wants to have a conversation and shake with my left hand and see what they do.
No. It's not a thing. Just going to say proper etiquette is the right hand is what I'm going with.
Did you look it up?
No.
Why?
You want me to?
Yeah, go for it.
Haha. Even in the United States, left-handed handshakes are considered an insult and are referred to insincere promises.
Huh. Good to know. Didn't know that.
Although conflicting information would have the most popular specific use of the left-handed handshake is coined the Scouts handshake, which is Scouts across the world all greet each other with a left-handed handshake, and that it's a sign of trust and friendship. But it also, again, in the Middle East, they use their left hand to wipe themselves.
Ew.
And in parts of Asia, so that's the disrespect of the left-handed extension. Left-handed people have generally been seen as evil devil spawns. Some weird shit on here. But it's considered...
I feel like it goes either way.
It's the majority of people will say that it's... disrespectful or rude to extend your left hand.
Lies.
Etiquette.
Scouts.
Well, like I don't know, like a secret handshake. But just saying that etiquette would imply you extend your right hand for a handshake and left for some reason, like injury and such.
Or penis on your left arm.
And so again, I'm curious. Other parts of the world, if they wipe their ass with their left hand, extending the left hand, obviously, that's rude, Andrea. Here, smell what I had for breakfast. Got weird. But I'm just saying, if you extend your left hand that also has a penis flopping around on it, I would assume that would also be rude.
You would think.
Does he get any public indecency charges having it just about? Why
I
didn't
don't
they
know.
hook it to his leg?
I just said he had
the
poor circulation because of his infections.
Whoa,
And
whoa, 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 whoa. So if he's got poor circulation, is that not a bigger issue than trying to strap a makeshift penis somewhere to add to something that needs to have blood circulating? Wouldn't they
so I'm
wait?
guessing they were treating him for the infections and stuff, and they just decided to deal with this whole process, like kind of let his body recuperate in the nether regions, like his legs and his
Yeah,
penis.
but if they actually did that, then they could have hooked it to his leg.
Well, I don't know. I can just tell you that they were excited, Claire. They got excited to create a penis for him. Okay.
Sounds like you got excited.
Okay. So
You.
doctors proceeded to graft the penis made from Malcolm's arm flesh to his inner left forearm. For the next 6 years, yes, 6 years,
It's definitely poor circulation.
Malcolm walked around with a newly crafted penis growing off his arm. For shock value, Malcolm
was it still
would use his,
growing?
I don't know, that's what it's, I think because it was like growing the nerves and stuff
It
like
was just
that. It was,
living there. Hey,
yes,
you think it's like when people have skin grafted to a different spot in their body that when they put it, I assume they place it where it's supposed to be, that if he scratched his arm, he could feel it on his new penis?
I don't know.
Because then, how do you know he's got a real scratch and he's not just playing with himself?
For shock value, Malcolm would use his penis to hold dart when he was at the pub.
Way to not acknowledge my question. And what?
Yeah. There's a picture. I'm not sure because they blur out the penis, but
He's using it as a paper holder kind of thing?
I'm not sure if he's using it as like a pin cushion and just sticking them in there,
No,
or if
I
he's
think he might have learned
flopping it over.
I would say I'm going to go with the flopping. He's using it as a limp bag clip kind of method.
You can't tell, but we
We'll
will
post
post the
pictures.
pictures. Yeah.
No
They are
worries.
censored, so you don't have to worry about being scarred by a penis on the arm.
Not true, because I found the one that was uncensored. And it doesn't look like a penis because there's no head to it. It just looks like a very large finger with no bones in it.
Well, Malcolm was on the documentary I referenced earlier. It's titled "The Man with a Penis on His Arm."
Do you think he was sad when they took it off his arm because now he's no longer the man with a penis on his arm? He's just a man who points to where there's a scar?
Perhaps. In the documentary, Malcolm tells a story about helping an old lady get an item off the top shelf at the grocery store. And you know how when like somebody's standing there, I guess he reached
around.
He reached like up and over her, and his sleeve pulled down, and pop!
Did she faint?
Out popped the penis from under his sleeve, and according to Malcolm, it nearly knocked the woman in the head. Do you think he'd get like a sexual assault charge for indecent exposure? You're in the store. You just assaulted a lady in the head with your penis, dude.
I just picture her doing, oh my stars.
What did you just hit me with? What is that? Like,
I'm
surprised he didn't wear like a,
what?
So I'm surprised he didn't put like an ace bandage on it, or like the arm sleeves like the basketball players wear.
Really?
Like
you thought he was going to be shy about his penis?
I mean, I don't know. In early 2022, doctors got their shenanigans together because, by the way, the 6 years of delay was due to scheduling mix-up, staff shortages, and COVID-19. So realistically, he endured having a penis on his arm for really no reason. Like, I get that there are reasons, but I'm thinking he was on
a pretty good reason.
But prior to, like, this is,
well, I'm still going to factor in the poor circulation thing. I think it was stupid to put it on there if he didn't have good enough circulation to place it on his leg, because then to me it doesn't seem like he should have been a candidate anyway.
Yeah,
but
I think because it was such a new procedure, they were kind of excited to try, which is why I feel like they rushed it. And then when you throw in scheduling mix-ups and everything, like, it wasn't due to a lack of blood flow that they couldn't reattach it where it was supposed to.
I just figured it out. It wasn't a matter of scheduling issues. They were going, oh shit, we thought it would have fallen off by now. Like, we got to have a plan. We got to figure this out. Like, it's still there and it's got circulation. We checked the capillary refill. It is perfect. Now what? They just can't say that because how do you say we're ready for surgery? Wink, wink. It's not a lot of confidence.
The doctors were successful at moving Malcolm's new member to his pubic region. It took around 9 hours to attach the now 6-inch member and all the nerves and blood vessels that were taken from his arm, where it was originally located, and placed down in his pubic area to help create blood flow to his new man-made penis. The urologist worked with plastic surgeons during the surgery to allow Malcolm to have a now working urethra. So Malcolm can pee and stand. He no longer has to sit to pee. Congratulations, Malcolm.
I bet he named it.
Probably. So doctors were creative and installed 2 tubes to allow Malcolm to inflate his new penis with a hand pump to help him achieve an erection. Malcolm said his new penis was better than the first one. Well, this one's a sequel and better than the original.
I totally think of like those Jordan Air things where you'd like pump the toe or the tongue part.
We also have a picture of how the whole
It's an interesting process.
Yeah. Surgeons let Malcolm assist in the new design of his penis. The divorced dad of 2 designed his, quote, dream penis with his doctors, and they allowed him to add an extra 2 inches to the magnificent model.
Which I'm going to say there was haggling going on. He wanted a full 12 inches. They're just like, no, that's excessive,
well,
even for you. And
well, they gave him they granted him the extra 2 inches. So his new penis is a full 6 inches.
I'm still going to say that they went back and forth. You don't even have enough extra skin. And he's like, oh, I'm okay with less skin. Take the whole arm. That's the way that conversation went in my head. I'm like, no. He's like, fine, 10, no, 4. No, that's what I had last time. It's not a new pair of shoes, fella. Just be glad you get something back.
Right? But they granted him an average size penis of 6 inches. We're sure that the average size penis is still 6 inches, right?
I haven't seen that many. And really, here lately, the ones I've seen were the ones that were necrotic and were just stumps. So I would say, I didn't realize there were so many necrotic penises out there. But I would say it brings the average way down.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I caffeinated.
So according to Dr. Google, 5.16 inches is according to according to science.org, the team's analysis, the average flaccid penis is 9 centimeters. Also 3.1.
What do you want it flaccid for?
3.61 inches in length, and the average erect penis is 13 centimeters, also known as 5.16 inches.
Totally didn't think you were going to say centimeters for a second. I have not seen the average penis then, because holy shit. Are we talking the human variety, or what are you Googling there for size? Jesus. Choking hazard right there. But shoot, why are we measuring everything in centimeters?
I don't know. This is according to
because the number's bigger?
Well, it's according to science.org. And then healthline.com says pretty much the same thing. The average length of an erect penis is between 5.1 inches and 5.5. You know what's interesting is I was always told, granted, I don't know where I heard this from.
I don't know where this is going.
That the average size penis was 6 inches. So I feel like whoever told me that must have been a male. And I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know, Andrea, because prior to your inquiry and letting me know the facts of the average length of penis, I could tell you, didn't have that snippet in my brains. But seriously, was a little surprised when he said 13 anything.
That's okay, because as I was reading it for the first time just now, and I saw 13, I was very relieved to see centimeters.
Seriously,
because
though. What profession uses centimeters?
Science.org. Also, Men's Health says the average size flaccid penis is 3 to 4 inches. And then the average
inches.
The average size erect penis is 5 to 6 inches. So
yeah, but nobody walks around saying what the centimeters of something is. I seriously say they only went to centimeters because the number's bigger.
Oh, there's a chart, and it's a bar graph, but instead of bars, they're using penises. I'm gonna send this to you.
That's funny. Although, you know what? I forget what we were watching where somebody was just like, yeah, don't measure from the top, though. Gotta measure from the bottom. Totally got off track there.
Yes, we did. But I don't know why I find this graph so funny, and we're going to have to add it to
Yes, you do, because you're all about the penises.
Yeah, but it's just funny.
That's why you're going to have a penis measuring device.
I am?
Evidently, you got one. It's called a ruler. We call them measuring tapes. Please tell me the next time Jason needs anything measured, just be like, where's that penis measurer? And be like, the what? You know, that thing with the numbers on it. A ruler?
That Jason had the measuring tape and he put it out at like 18 inches and held it down by his junk and was just like, started thrusting his hips at me, and he starts wiggling his hips at me, his hip thrusting towards me, trying to poke me with the tape measure. And I was like, yeah, okay, don't you wish. And my youngest, who was 3 at the time, holds the tape measure out and goes, "Aw, I'm only 3." I just about died laughing. And I looked at Jason and I was like, you see? Do you see what happens? You think he's not paying attention, and he is. And we just had a good chuckle, but turns out your joke's been done, is what I'm trying to say.
He measured his penis at 3.
So that's why he held it at 3, the number 3, because he knew he was 3 years old. So yes, he didn't actually measure his penis. He was just holding the tape measure out. But because he's only 3, it was a small.
So he didn't really measure his penis so much as he was playing with the tape measure naked. And it was
no. Yeah, nobody was naked. Everybody was fully clothed. We were actually outside.
That is an important. I'm picturing, and not that I want to, by the way, that's where I thought you were going with this story. And I was like, this is fucking weird. I don't think he knows what he's doing.
Can I just say that
we haven't accomplished a whole lot.
It doesn't give me much hope for this episode.
It's going to be a lot of editing. I'm just going to tell you.
All right. So Malcom went from a 4-inch penis to being Sir Stumpy to 6 inches.
I would say from going from Sir Stumpy that he should just be grateful to have one at all.
That's true. Well, Malcom is not the only man to get attention to his nether regions in 2022. So in March of this year, a New York man injected cocaine into the vein on his penis, and his penis, like Malcom's, turned black and began to rot. So, again, kids, don't do drugs. And don't inject stuff into your penis.
So I would think it would totally be easier than trying to rebuild from scratch to take one off of a fresh corpse. Just saying.
Yeah. Right. So they are doing that also. We'll get back on that here shortly. But I
don't want to be
the man who what?
I want to be on it.
On the topic. The man from New York who injected the cocaine into his penis, he actually went to the doctor before his penis fully rotted and fell off, but he refused to let the doctors cut away the dead flesh on his penis. After 5 days on IV antibiotics and then 10 days of medications, they released him, quoting him as being clinically improved or improving, but The man refused drug rehab and stopped all follow-up care, so doctors lost track of him. So we don't know whether or not his penis also fell off.
But let's face it, he probably OD'd.
Perhaps. But you never know. Maybe he got scared straight after almost losing his penis, and he's living a productive life. Who knows?
I'm gonna say he was depressed because of his penis potentially falling off, because let's face it, that's where this was going, and turned back to drugs.
Perhaps. So the NHS, the National Health Services in England, funded Malcolm's £50,000, which is close to a little over 61,000 in US dollars.
Now that's some good health care.
Correct. They funded that so that he could receive his new penis.
Tax dollars hard at work. You get it?
I get it. I got it. Malcolm has received a lot of attention due to his rare situation. Malcolm said, "This could be a turning point in my life." He was obviously thrilled at the possibility of being able to boink someone again.
His penis falling off was not a turning point in his life. I feel like that was a downward turn.
It was, and he became a heavy drinker. And then a doctor told him about the magical penis doctor.
He makes penises appear.
I mean,
instead of rabbits.
So Malcolm's story attracted the attention of actress Kate Beckinsale. She apparently shared Malcolm's story that she saw on the New York Times Post, took a screenshot and attached it to her Instagram page. Malcolm said he'd love to take her on a date. He's apparently thrilled to be on her radar. Malcolm said he's ready to date again, so why not Kate? She's also a single mother, and she is a year older than him. He's 47, she's 48. He said that he would even treat her to a pint down at his local boozer. He's a big spender. And I bet if he'd show her his hand pump, too, if she's a good girl.
He better use it. You can take the remote. Possibly the only time a man would pass it.
So on Kate's Instagram, she posted a screenshot of that article from the New York Times to her over 5 million followers, saying it made her, quote, momentarily feel better about her life, because apparently she's going through some stress. I have no idea. But I'm sorry, if my boob fell off and someone screenshotted that article and said it made them feel momentarily better about their life, that's not a compliment. Like, they're not like, wow, hey, good for you, buddy.
He's just silver lining it.
Yeah, like, I'll give him credit, but
let's face it, Andrea, if you found a tennis ball sized lump on one of your tits, you'd go to the doctor before your fingers and toes turned a shade of black.
I would go before my boob turned black.
I'm just saying.
I'm agreeing. So the phalloplasty takes approximately 15 hours. Malcolm's took 9.
A lot of penis staring.
It sure is. It's a lot of different doctors, like the plastic surgeons, the urologists, everybody taking their turn. But in 2006, the first failed attempt was made in China to attach a penis.
The wrong directions and made him a girl.
In 2014, there's a successful phalloplasty in South Africa, and a year later resulted in a baby. Good on South Africa. But surgeons found that there's a large pool of potential phalloplasty candidates due to injuries received during a common form of ritualistic adult circumcisions in South Africa.
They took a little too much off the top.
Or they used a dirty knife and they got gangrene and fell off.
I don't think gangrene is a word.
It is for this purpose. And then in 2016, the U.S. decided to jump on the penis bandwagon and did their first penis transplant. Now, I feel like certain penis transplants are worth kind of chuckling about, like Malcolm's situation or the New York guy, where it's kind of self-inflicted. You know, you're doing drugs, you're ignoring the hygiene issues that you've got going on. It was preventative. Okay.
If he would have left it alone, it wouldn't have happened.
Correct. Or if he went to the doctor when it started to get infected. But anyway, the guy in the U.S., the first successful penis transplant in the the US was in 2016, and that man had to have his penis amputated due to penile cancer. I feel he would have my sympathy because nobody asked for cancer. So, but the US, it's presumed that the majority of men that need a penis transplant are troops that are suffering from devastating genital injuries due to explosions.
I could see that.
So, as with any other organ transplant, the patients face a lifelong regimen of anti-rejection drugs. That's what I've got on penises for the day. Children, don't do drugs. It will make your penis fall off. If you got a funky smell.
Whoa, let's hope that there are not children listening to the podcast. I don't feel like that was recommended at all.
Okay, well, males of any age, don't do drugs. Don't inject stuff in your penis. And if you got a funky shaped thing growing down there that's not supposed to be there, go to the doctor.
Especially if there's a smell.
Ugh. Anyway, that's all I got.
Although this one's like a polar opposite of episode 1. This is not a choking hazard.
This is not a choking hazard.
Well, I guess if... No, never mind.
I guess if you lop it off and shove it down somebody's throat.
So that's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to spoil where we're going.
The death of a penis. Here's a shorty for you. See what I did there?
Andrea.
I totally think we should name this episode Stumpy.
Name it Stumpy. Thank you for listening to Homicide Hobbies. I'm Claire.
I'm Andy.
Follow us each week to get your fix of the atrocities that occur in true crime. And don't forget to tell people about us and rate us if you like us. But don't rate us if you didn't. Just change the channel.